In every relationship, surface joys can often hide deeper disconnects. Join me on this journey of rediscovery and vulnerability. Like, comment, and subscribe for more heartfelt stories. My marriage has mostly been happy, filled with laughter and shared dreams. Lately, though, I've sensed a change. My wife seems distant, often lost in thought, and her laughter is less frequent. I remember when we could talk for hours, but now conversations feel strained. I try to brush it off, thinking it might be stress from work, but a nagging feeling tells me it's something more. As the days go by, I find myself questioning everything. Have I taken her for granted? Is she hiding something? Each time I reach out, she pulls away, leaving me anxious and unsure. I can't shake the feeling that something is wrong, and I fear that if I don't uncover the truth soon, it might be too late. One evening, I overheard my wife laughing with her friends, and my heart sank as I listened. They were teasing her about an unfulfilled fantasy, something whimsical, like a spontaneous trip to Paris or a night under the stars. At first, I felt a mix of amusement and sadness. How did I not know about this dream? In that moment, I decided I had to do something to rekindle our connection. I began planning the surprise, believing that fulfilling her fantasy would show her how much I love her. I booked a weekend getaway, arranged for a beautiful picnic, and even found a cozy spot where we could stargaze together. My excitement built as I envisioned the look on her face when she discovered my plans. But deep down, I worried. Would this really bridge the gap between us? Or was I merely masking the deeper issues we faced? As I quietly planned to fulfill her wish, my mind raced with visions of her surprise and excitement, hoping this gesture would bring us closer. I booked a charming Airbnb in the countryside, picturing us on long walks, laughing and dancing under the stars. Yet, amid my excitement, a lingering doubt crept in. Could this really bridge the growing distance between us? Or would it become just another fleeting moment that couldn't heal the deeper fractures in our relationship? The more I envisioned the weekend, the more I questioned if love alone was enough to break through the walls between us. In my quest to make everything perfect, I turned to forums and friends for advice. I scoured the internet, reading posts about surprise getaways and romantic gestures. I wanted to know how to create a magical experience that would sweep her off her feet. Each suggestion I found felt like a piece of the puzzle: how to plan the perfect picnic, what snacks to bring, and even tips on creating an unforgettable atmosphere. I also reached out to a couple of close friends, hoping they could offer insights. You really want to impress her, one friend said, nodding thoughtfully. Think about what she loves and build it around that. I soaked in every bit of advice, wanting to ensure every detail was just right. The pressure to make this special weighed on me, but I was determined to succeed. I could almost picture her smile and hear her delighted gasp as she uncovered my plans. At that moment, I felt a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, this would reignite the spark we had lost. I hoped this gesture would not only bring us closer, but also remind her of the early days of our romance, when everything felt vibrant and new. I envisioned her surprise, the joy in her eyes, as we explored the quaint surroundings, laughing and reminiscing. I wanted her to remember the thrill we once felt in each other's company, the way we'd get lost in conversation and dreams. With each detail I planned, I felt a growing anticipation. I could almost hear her voice, sweet and playful, as we relived our best moments. This getaway was more than just a trip. It was my way of reaching out across the distance that had crept between us. I hoped that by recreating those cherished memories, I could reignite our shared passion and remind her of the love that had brought us together. But as the days passed, I couldn't shake the fear that my efforts might fall flat, leaving me questioning if love alone could heal the wounds of our silence. The day finally arrived, and I could barely contain my excitement as I sat with Sarah on the couch, the warm evening sun casting a glow around us. I took a deep breath and shared the details of my surprise: a cozy Airbnb, a picnic by the river, and stargazing under fairy lights, hoping to bridge the gap between us. As her expression shifted from confusion to delight, I felt a glimmer of hope that this gesture might reignite our connection. At first, my wife was silent, her eyes widening in disbelief as she processed what I had just shared. I misinterpreted her quietness as a surprise, a moment of awe where she was absorbing the extent of my efforts. I held my breath, eager for her response, hoping to see a smile spread across her face or hear her laughter fill the room. But as the seconds ticked by, the silence began to feel heavy. I studied her face, searching for any sign of joy or excitement, but her expression remained unreadable. I felt a flutter of anxiety in my chest. "What do you think?" I finally asked, trying to keep my tone light. The anticipation hung in the air, and I couldn't shake the fear that perhaps my grand gesture hadn't landed as I had hoped. If you're resonating with this journey of rediscovery and the challenges of love, don't hesitate to share your thoughts. Have you ever faced similar struggles in your own relationships? I'd love to hear your stories. Remember to like and comment below, and subscribe for more heartfelt tales that dive deep into the complexities of love and connection. Your experiences could inspire others who are navigating similar paths. When she finally spoke, my heart dropped at her words. "I don't want it to be with you," she said, her voice steady but tinged with something I couldn't quite place. The joy I had envisioned evaporated in an instant, replaced by a chilling silence. I felt the weight of her statement settle between us, the air thick with unspoken feelings. Confusion washed over me as I searched her face for clarity. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. It felt like the ground was shifting beneath me, and I struggled to understand. Her eyes looked away, revealing a vulnerability I hadn't seen before. In that moment, the distance I had sensed all along suddenly felt like a chasm, one that my grand plans could never bridge. I was stunned, my mind racing as I tried to process her unexpected response. The world around us faded into a blur as I struggled to comprehend what she had just said. How could she not want to share this moment with me? I felt a mix of disbelief and hurt, like a punch to the gut. "Why?" I finally managed to ask, my voice trembling slightly. I needed answers, a glimpse into her thoughts that seemed so far away. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat echoing the growing sense of dread. I could see that my efforts had backfired, and the reality of our situation crashed over me like a cold wave. I realized that my attempts to rekindle our connection had opened a door I wasn't prepared for, one that revealed deeper issues lurking beneath the surface of our marriage. Stunned, I searched her eyes for answers, replaying moments of laughter and late-night talks that reminded me of what we had lost. Had I been so wrapped up in my own world that I missed her growing discontent? As the weight of her words sank in, I realized that my grand gesture, meant to show my love, only highlighted the fractures in our marriage, revealing the painful truth that sometimes love alone isn't enough to mend what's broken. As I searched for clarity, she hesitated before admitting, I've been questioning our relationship for a while now, her eyes reflecting pain and resolve. Her honesty cut deep, and I realized I had been so focused on our moments together that I failed to see her growing discontent. This wasn't just about a fantasy getaway, it was about a connection that had frayed over time, leaving me feeling helpless as I understood how far we had drifted apart. As I stood there grappling with her revelation, a painful truth settled in. I might not be enough for her anymore. I had always believed love could conquer all, but her distance and doubts made me wonder if I had failed her in ways I hadn't recognized. At that moment, I understood that love isn't just about grand gestures, it's about communication and being present, and I feared I had overlooked the deeper issues that needed addressing. I stood under the weight of her words, grappling with whether our marriage could be saved, as the gap between us felt insurmountable. My perfect surprise had turned out to be just a bandage on a deeper wound, revealing that this distance was a reflection of unaddressed issues. Accepting the reality of our situation was painful, but I hoped that by acknowledging the gap, we might find a path back to each other. Reflecting on our situation, I was haunted by the realization that sometimes love alone isn't enough, especially when deeper disconnects are ignored. While love is powerful, it requires communication, understanding, and the courage to confront uncomfortable truths. Without addressing the underlying issues, even the strongest bond can fray.